everyone. Oh, that sounds wonderful. I know. We need to tape that, and then we give us play as we have our other meetings. Thank you all for being here at our Hamilton County staff meeting, February 20th, 2024. It's very special. This one, we are celebrating Black History Month. So, a couple things, if you could turn your phones to silent. Please do that. Take a minute to turn all your phones to silent. And while you're doing that, I'm going to ask everyone on the dais to introduce themselves.
Leslie Hervey, Clerk to the Board. Stephanie Summerall Dumas, Commissioner.
Good afternoon. I'm County Commissioner Denise Driehaus.
Jeff Ludo, County Administrator.
Charlie Annis, Prosecutor's Office.
And I'm Hamilton County Commission President Alicia Reese. First on our agenda are proclamations celebrating a lot of folks that's in this room. But I do want to acknowledge we do have some elected officials that are here and were here that I want to make sure that we acknowledge. I want to acknowledge Vice Mayor of the Village of Lincoln Heights, Linda Childs Jeter, who is here and is a member of AKA. I want to acknowledge Mayor John Smith, who will get a bigger acknowledgement, but he's here from the city of Silverton. I want to acknowledge Mary Weinberg, who's on our Cincinnati Public School Board, member of AKA. And earlier we had Council Member Scotty Johnson. They had to run back to a budget hearing, but he wanted to make sure everybody knows he was here. And he's also wanted me to make sure you know that he's a member of Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Y'all tell him I said it, so he won't get on my case. And also the Vice Mayor of Cincinnati, Jan Michelle Lemon Kearney, was also here, who's a member of AKAs. Did I miss any elected officials in the room? Okay, awesome. Thank you all for being here. We have a proclamation. I'm not going to read it all, but I would ask that for Black History Month, there was a program that Commissioner Dumas started before I was even elected, and I would like to have you read the proclaim part of it, if you wouldn't mind. Okay. It has all of the whereases recognizing Black History Month. It started under Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who is pioneering leadership and associated creating the research and the publication outlets for Black scholars with the establishment of the journal Negro History in 1916 and the Negro History Bulletin in 1937, and it had popular appeal. In 1926, Dr. Woodson initiated the celebration of Negro History Week, which corresponded with the birthdays of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. In 1976, this celebration was expanded to include the entire month of February, and today's Black History Month garners support throughout the country as people of all ethnic and social backgrounds discuss the Black experience. We needed Black History Month because it was left out. And so I would have Commissioner Dumas, if you would read the
Sure, I'd be happy to.
Proclaim.
Therefore, be it proclaimed that Hamilton County Commissioners recognize February the 1st through the 29th, 2024 as Black History Month in all of Hamilton County, and it's signed by all our commissioners.
Awesome. Now, each of us made selections to honor people and organizations that have made a difference in Black history. And so I'm going to start off with my recognitions at this time. This year I wanted to recognize organizations for the fraternal organization of the Prince Hall Masons that's been around forever and has been doing so much in the community and made a major role in civil rights. I also wanted to acknowledge the Black sororities who have Black women who have helped and done so much service and scholarships, and I wanted to honor them as well. So my first honoree group is the Prince Hall Masonic family. Whereas Prince Hall Masons were established during the Revolutionary era as a separate all-black organization when African Americans were prevented from joining existing Masonic organizations prior to the creation of the other fraternal organizations. Today, the Prince Hall Freemasonry remains the largest and oldest African American fraternal organization in the world. At least 5,000 lodges in Ohio alone can trace their lineage back to the original Prince Hall, which was established in 1775 and will celebrate 175 years of service to Hamilton County and Ohio this year. Over 500,000 members in the United States alone serve in the Brotherhood today. And whereas Prince Hall Masonry was brought to Cincinnati, Ohio in 1849 in the form of 3 lodges, Corinthian number 1, True American number 2, and St. John number 3, to regularly erect the first Prince Hall Grand Lodge west of the mountains in Cincinnati, Ohio. Whereas the Prince Hall Masonic family includes statewide bodies including Eastern Stars, Golden Circle, Consistory, Shriners, the Daughters of the Shriners, Pythagoreans, Girls Assembly, Royal Art, Knights Templar, and Prince White Court. And whereas Prince Hall Masons have been tirelessly advocates and champions for civil rights and social justice efforts all over the country in a range of issues, including but not limited to voter registration and mobilization, youth advocacy, addressing homelessness, providing food assistance, assisting the sick and shut-in, making purchases to help with the African American community, and a number of benevolent activities. Whereas the Prince Hall Masons had a well-established and long-defined history with Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and was instrumental in supporting Dr. King's life work, both financially and on the front lines, as to exemplify that they are for justice. They also participated in the March on Washington in 1963. Whereas locally, the Prince Hall Masons have been instrumental in the betterment of Hamilton County, providing hundreds of Thanksgiving, should say thousands at this point, thousands of Thanksgiving meals and turkey baskets to families annually, and helping to feed the hungry, adopting schools, mentoring with local schools, and registering hundreds of people to vote. The Prince Hall Masons have had a significant economic impact in Hamilton County, hosting numerous conventions on a yearly basis, including the Shriners Ball, the United Supreme Council, the Northern Jurisdiction, Prince Hall Grand Lodge, and the week-long International Shriners Convention in 2011 and 2015, and more, bringing in millions of dollars and thousands of visitors. Whereas many notable dignitaries and pillars come from Prince Hall Masonic family, including Cincinnati, Ohio's first African-American mayor, Theodore M. Berry, former Hamilton County Judge McLean, national civil rights activist and minister, Reverend Al Sharpton, and national civil rights administrator, Reverend Jesse Jackson, former United States Ambassador Andrew Young, former U.S. Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall, 33rd degree Lieutenant Solvent Grand Commander of the Northern Jurisdiction, Mr. Sidney Broadnax, who is with us, and more. Therefore, be it proclaimed that Hamilton County Commissioners, on behalf of its residents and the entire community, hereby extends its deepest gratitude and appreciation to the Prince Hall Masonic family for their contributions to Hamilton County and across the world. Be it further proclaimed that the Hamilton County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim February 26, 2024, to be known as Prince Hall Masonic Family Day in all of Hamilton County. I would ask for the most worshipful Grand Master of the Free and Accepted Masons, Mr. Robert Estelle, to come forward. If you'd like to say a word, but as you come forward, I'm going to open it up, and then you'll be able to say a word. I'll open it up to Vice President Denise Driehaus.
Thank you. It is an honor to be here with all of you. Sometimes we have packed rooms, but they're not always as positive and exuberant as you are. We just had one recently, and it was about something different. But it is just a real honor to be here with all of you to recognize the organizations, the sororities, the individuals that have joined us here today, especially with the makeup of this county commission. It is unique, as you may know, in the state of Ohio. 3 women, 2 women of color sitting on the dais is something, and it's something to be celebrated. So thank you. So, Madam President, I don't have anything specific. I'm interested to learn about all these unique and interesting organizations, but I just wanted to say thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Commissioner Dumas.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your honor and your work that you've been doing in the community. I had a brother-in-law, you could not say anything wrong about Prince Hall Mason. So
good man.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you. Grandmaster.
First of all, I would like to say thank you to Hamilton County for taking the opportunity and the time out to recognize not just the Prince Hall Masons, but to our sisters as well for the efforts that we continue to put forth. I come to you and bring you greetings on behalf of the Most Worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge, where I serve humbly as the 66th Most Worshipful Grand Master. There's only been 66 of us since 1849. So it's truly an honor to be in this position. It is important for us to remember that we have continued to make contributions to this country day in and day out. And one thing I will say, this year, I made a decision that rather than recognizing Black History Month, the Prince Hall Masons will be recognizing Black History Year. There are not enough days in the year to recognize the sacrifice and contributions that we have made to this country. So therefore, we are going to continue to represent and recognize 24/7, 365. So having said that, the Prince Hall Masons, again, as you mentioned, and quite extensive proclamation, and we thank you. You got everything in there. So you stole a little bit of my thunder, but I do want to remind people that we are 175 years old. We are older than the United States, okay? So as an organization here in Ohio, we will be celebrating our 175th anniversary in Columbus, Ohio, on May the 3rd and May the 4th. And as a caveat, we will be recognizing our past Grand Masters as well as all those who have served in this capacity. And we will be raffling off a 2024 Mercedes-Benz. So anyone who's interested, see me after the meeting. Tickets are only $5 a piece.
Room now.
had to get that commercial in. But again, we thank you on behalf for Hamilton County, for the Prince Hall Masons. We will continue to serve. We thank you. You are our sister. We appreciate all that you continue to do. I've watched you grow. I am so proud of you. Words can't even express it. You are truly a chip off the old block. So we thank you for this recognition, and we are here to do whatever it is that you need us to do at any time. So thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you. We're going to come around and take a picture with you. But I do want to just highlight one big thing, not the only thing, but the turkey giveaways. You give out 1,000, not just turkeys, but the entire, just in our district, not statewide, but just in Hamilton County alone. And this year was a big year because people couldn't afford a lot of the turkeys. But 1,000, and you got everything from the turkey to the cornbread to the macaroni and cheese. And I just want to thank you for that and the scholarships that
that is the one very important thing that I also want to mention, since you mentioned the scholarships that our sisters give away. The Prince Hall Masons have given away over $1 million in scholarships to needy children.
Awesome.
So that is the reason we're raffling off the Mercedes-Benz, in order to enhance the amount of money we're able to give our children. It's not about the car, it's about the kids.
Awesome. All right, we're going to come around and take a picture. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Anna told me that before we got going. Okay, they're gonna come around. Come on up to take the photo. That way we don't have to. Yes, you come right here. We should stand. We should stand.
Okay.
I'll just- Yeah, it looks weird.
Women, we
Wait a minute.
got some more.
What's the run next? Oh, we got more.
Still
We
coming.
got more.
Got a few.
Okay, Jeff, we're gonna need it wider.
I'm
You
in the
gotta
back.
move over.
I'm in the back.
You gotta move over to that side. You'll get back.
Come on, baby, stand up.
This time, my heel. Nina, you're in it.
Yes, ma'am, I'm in it.
Let me sneak in here. You know.
You're too little. You're too short to go back there. Okay.
Great.
I know. I'm gonna take the picture. I'm good.
No, you come on.
Okay. Oh, good.
He can take the picture for you.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Okay, tell us, why are you down there? Are you supposed to be over here?
Got him.
Okay.
We got him back there.
Okay. All right. Okay, tell us which camera first, real quick.
Guy with the
In the middle, I guess.
Right there.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
We got one more. We got one more.
Deontay. Do it again.
Yes. Yeah.
Right here.
Okay, thank you.
Got it. Thanks. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's for our newspaper.
Sonic needs her. All right, thank you.
Thank you, baby. I'm good.
I got you.
You missed the big picture. You missed the other picture. But we got this. Okay, all right.
Right now? All right. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yumi, Forte, a couple of the other, yeah.
All right, we're going to keep this moving because we got a lot of great people to honor today. And bear with us. We're going to get these photographs. If you have any conversation, if you take it to the hallway, please. Okay, next, we have proclamation honoring Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
I took Jeff's chair.
Black Greek letters. If y'all got conversation, please out. Let me. Black Greek letter organizations and fraternities provide a forum for African Americans to feel their personal need for affiliation and belongingness, to develop leadership abilities, to collectively engage in social action for the betterment of the Black community, and continues to make a national impact for social change globally as well as locally. Whereas Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated is an international service organization that was founded on the campus of Howard University in Washington, D.C. in 1908, and is the oldest Greek letter organization established by African American collegiate women. And whereas Alpha Kappa Alpha Incorporated local chapters, Sigma Omega, was chartered in Cincinnati, Ohio on December 18, 1924, followed by Phi Psi Omega, chartered in Cincinnati, Ohio on January 5th and on January the 5th. Whereas this year, Sigma Omega chapter will celebrate 100 years of service to Hamilton County and continuously invest in the betterment of Hamilton County by championing 6 key program initiatives, including strengthening our sisterhood, empowering our families, building your economic wealth, enhancing our environment, advocating for social justice, and uplifting our local community. And whereas Phi Psi Omega chapter continuously contributes to Hamilton County, awarding $42,000 in scholarships to local high school students during their first 7 years and participating in various community activities, including voter registration, seatbelt education, SIDS awareness, breast cancer awareness, child safety, Meals on Wheels, Dress for Success, AKA Academy, the Young Authors Program, Forest Park Night Out, Girl Scouts, Free Store Food Bank, Youth Motivational Learning Center, and Adoptive Family. And I just, woof. Anything? Did they sleep? Do they sleep? And then they have, whereas many notable dignitaries and pillars come from Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, including the first African American female United States Vice President Kamala Harris, the late Mrs. Coretta Scott King, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, Grammy Award-winning singer Gladys Knight, and more. And whereas Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated was founded on a mission of 5 basic tenets that have remained unchanged since the sorority's inception: to cultivate and encourage high scholastic and ethical standards, to promote unity and friendship among the college women, to study and help alleviate problems concerning girls and women in order to improve their social stature, to maintain a progressive interest in college life, and to be of service to all mankind. Therefore, be it proclaimed that the Hamilton County Commissioners, on behalf of its residents and the entire community, hereby extends its deepest gratitude and appreciation to Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated and their local chapters, Sigma Omega and Phi Psi Omega, for their contributions to Hamilton County. Be it further proclaimed that the Hamilton County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim February 27th, 2024, to be known as Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated Day in all of Hamilton County. And to represent, I'll make sure I have it right, Sigma Omega Chapter President Joya Dillard. Okay. And then we have also Phi Psi Omega President.
I'm filling in for the
Filling in,
president.
representing.
Yes.
Gotta get it right.
I'm a member.
Gotta go to the chapter meetings. Okay, filling in to speak for them is Mary Weinberg. Before you two speak, though, I would like to open it up to Vice President.
Well, thank you. I don't need to have a comment for every single one. However, on this one, when I hear about the work that you're doing and the emphasis you're putting on kids and putting on women and girls, and some of the things it reminds me of the work the county does. We are in partnership with you, it seems, on all things. So thank you so much for your service to the community, and thank you for being here.
Vice President Drew, I saw you getting excited when you were hearing all this with the girls and what they do. Commissioner Dumas.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm accustomed to the pink and green. My sister was actually in AKA when she was in college. I think about the opportunity that the young ladies, specifically Black young ladies, had to unify themselves in the midst of their education. And so that ski-wee thing, y'all see? I got sick of hearing that. Oh, you guys still do that? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. But anyway, congratulations. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. You have the floor.
Yes, thank you. I just want to thank the Hamilton County Commissioners and then President Reese for bringing us here today. This is truly, truly an honor. I am Joya Dillard. I am the president of the Sigma Omega chapter. And as mentioned in our proclamation, yes, the overall sorority is 116 years old, but Sigma Omega chapter is 100 years old this year. Serving the greater Cincinnati area. But we stand on the shoulders of our founders in anything and everything that we do. But I'm also going to give a shameless little plug here, and I'm sure you'll find out later if it's not already on your radar. But this year, we're actually hosting our Great Lakes, our 93rd Great Lakes Regional Conference. And please understand that you will probably get an invitation to attend our public meeting. So we want to make sure that you are there. We're going to have not the red carpet, but the pink carpet, or hot pink, and make sure that we will enlighten you in all the things that we do, not only for what our region is, because our region is also celebrating 100 years too. And then we also have another chapter, which is out in Xenia, Rho Omega, that's also celebrating 100 years. So we just want to make sure that we invite you to attend our conference, but also too, we'll get an invitation to you all to also join us in some of the many events that we're also hosting this year. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Madam President and the other commissioners, on behalf of Phi Psi Omega and my president, Lisa Marshad, my name is Mary Weinberg, and I am representing as a member. We just would love to thank you all for this honor, and especially for it being the first time that you're honoring not only the Black sororities, but also Black Greek sororities at that. You've talked so much about the service that we do in the community. We are a service chapter. We are also known as the award-winning chapter as well. And it is an honor to be here, and thank you again for your service. We look forward to doing this again with you all, and we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're gonna take a picture as you're all coming up. Let's take a photo. And I want to highlight two things that just happened to Mr. Aludo, because we always look at our motel, and we just talked about the Masons and the Shriners. And this past weekend, we just took over the whole Blue Ash Hotel that we do every year. 300 rooms, I believe, for books, so we're going to get some good money coming in. And then the AKAs are just talking about a conference they're getting ready to bring. So I like to hear all this. They're bringing people to spend money in Hamilton County. Thank you.
I can move beyond Joya, so we can sort of Denise.
Come on down.
Fill us all in.
Come behind. Vice Mayor, you up here.
Linda.
If you can see the camera can see you. Yeah, if you could turn sideways, this way, and turn sideways and then that way. Wonderful.
I mean, if you could move over just a tad. Yeah. Oh. Okay.
Yeah, we'll make sure everyone gets a chance to take a picture.
Where's Brenda? There she is.
Deontay, can you dunk down? Thank you. Right here.
Hold on. Now I gotta get this side. Wait, hold on. I got one more. This one takes 10 seconds before it takes it. Okay. Now. Did you get it? Oh. Wait. Wait. Okay.
Next, we have Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. My notes. On January 13th, 1913, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated was founded by 22 collegiate women at Howard University in Washington, D.C. Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated's local chapter, the Cincinnati Alumni Chapter, was chartered in 1959 in Cincinnati, Ohio, and will be celebrating 65 years of service here in Hamilton County. Whereas the Cincinnati Alumni Chapter invests in the betterment of Hamilton County through their 5-point programmatic thrust areas: economic development, educational development, international awareness and involvement, physical and mental health, and political awareness and involvement. Whereas the Cincinnati Alumni Chapter also offers free youth educational programs to more than 100 students annually, awarding $300,000 in scholarships in the last 15 years, and offers a free 6-week ACT prep course for 20 high school young men annually. Whereas in March of 1913, the founders of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated performed their first public act of participating in the Women's Suffrage March in Washington, D.C. And whereas Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated was incorporated in 1930 and is committed to the betterment of their local communities. Whereas Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated is a private, non-for-profit organization whose purpose is to provide assistance and support through establishing programs in local communities throughout the world. Whereas since Delta Sigma Theta Sorority founding, more than 275,000 women have joined the sisterhood of predominantly Black college-educated women, and currently has 1,000 collegiate and alumni chapters located in the United States, England, Japan, Germany, the Virgin Islands, Bermuda, the Bahamas, Jamaica, and the Republic of Korea. Therefore, be it proclaimed that the Hamilton County Commissioners, on behalf of its residents and the entire community, hereby extends its deepest gratitude and appreciation to Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated and their local chapter, the Cincinnati Alumni, for their contributions to Hamilton County for over 65 years. Be it further proclaimed that the Hamilton County Board of County Commissioners does hereby proclaim February 28th, 2024, as Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated Day in all of Hamilton County. And at this time, we have our chapter president, Cheryl Lett, but I'll open up Vice President Driehaus.
Just very quickly, welcome. Congratulations on this recognition. Hearing the work that you are involved in, especially the suffrage piece and how you were forerunners when it came to women's suffrage and the international nature of your organization, it is no surprise to me that you've got some notorious members in this community, some elected officials, a judge in particular sitting in the back of the room, because that's obviously something that you're interested in, promoting women to think about themselves in those kinds of leadership positions. So congratulations to you.
Yes, Judge Nicole Sanders. When I was saying elected officials, you didn't say anything. And all the great work she's doing for Hamilton County. Commissioner Dumas.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all that you do. And you can have more than one sorority in one room.
You can.
Yes, because you guys have a commonality of serving people. So I think that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I am Cherylette, president of the Cincinnati Alumni Chapter, but we do have 2 chapters in Cincinnati, and so I will let Felicia Rosemont introduce herself and tell you what she does.
Good afternoon. My name is Felicia Rosemont, and I serve as the president of the Cincinnati Queen City Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
And we tag team a lot. We're both first-term presidents, so we're getting used to this. Yes. So we thank you on behalf of both of our chapters. I'll tell you a little bit about some of the things that our local chapter is doing. Again, we're celebrating our 65th year, but again, we stand on the shoulders of our founders as well. You mentioned our 5-point programmatic thrust and some of the things that we stand for and all of the work that we do in the city. Both of our chapters do an incredible job with youth programming. Between the 2 of us, we've given out more than $600,000 over the last 20 years across both of our chapters. I will do one shameless plug, and then I'll let Felicia talk a little bit about the things that her chapter is doing. Our chapter, because we have signature fundraisers, we are able to give out $25,000 to $30,000 a year. So we have an upcoming event that we'd love for you to join us at. On March 9th, we have our 10th annual Soulful Sounds Brunch. It will be held at the Marriott in Westchester, Ohio. We have a fabulous band. Tickets are available online, and we would love for you to support us. And you will find information on our Instagram and our Facebook page.
Thank you. I wanted to certainly thank you for the opportunity to be here to recognize Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and all of the organizations that are here. We work very hard to impact the community here in Hamilton County, both individually and collectively. We're an organization of college-educated women founded on Christian principles, and it's very important that we do what we can to impact our community with emphasis more recently on girls and women. And so thank you, Ms. Driehaus, for acknowledging that. And so we really appreciate the opportunity to be here today.
Thank you. And we will, Beta, we'll make sure that we get the Queen City one as well. So thank you both. Can we come get a quick picture?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Can I make a public service announcement? If you're parked, the parking attendants are very diligent. So you can renew your parking on your phone if you'd like, but don't take a chance on it, okay?
I'm sorry, did you want to say something else?
No.
Oh, you'll take this one? Oh, we got room on this. Thank you.
Go that way.
All right. I think we getting this. Yeah, okay. I think we've been getting this down packed.
Yes, you got it done.
I love red. That's my mom's favorite. Okay.
And then we'll angle it. All right, if you can see this gentleman.
One more.
Yeah, I feel somebody back here. Yeah, come on
You
up.
see
Yeah.
him?
Thank you. One more.
That little camera. It worked when it's on my
It's about my sorority as a whole. Y'all shout my name out all the time.
Taking my low sitting chair. Mine's lower than everybody else's.
Okay, next we have Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated was founded on January 16, 1920 at Howard University, Washington, D.C. by 5 co-eds seeking to expand their concepts on dedication of scholarship, service, sisterhood, and finer womanhood. Whereas Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, local chapter Beta Zeta Zeta, was chartered in September 1943 and is the second oldest chapter in the Great Lakes region. Whereas Beta Zeta Zeta chapter continuously contributes to the betterment of Hamilton County, offering a parental education course, motherhood mentoring known as Stork's Nest, adopting families for the holidays, buying rice and water wells in Africa, visiting the elderly, hosting a health fair, passing out school supplies, and raising awareness about triple negative breast cancer awareness. Whereas Zeta Phi Beta sorority was incorporated on March 30th, 1923 in Washington, D.C. by sorority members Myrtle Tyler, Gladys Warrington, Joanne Houston, Josephine F. Johnson, and L.O. Goldia Smith, eventually becoming incorporated in the state of Illinois in 1939. Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated lives by its mission statement to foster the ideas of service, charity, scholarships, civil and cultural endeavors, sisterhood, etc. Since Zeta Phi Beta Incorporated inception, Zeta Phi Beta has continued its steady climb into the national spotlight with programs designed to demonstrate concern for human condition, both nationally and internationally. Whereas Zeta Phi Beta Incorporated chapters and auxiliaries have given countless hours of volunteer service to educate the public, assist youth, provide scholarships, support organized charities, and promote legislation for social and civic change. Therefore, be it proclaimed that the Hamilton County Commissioners, on behalf of its residents and the entire community, hereby extends its deepest gratitude and appreciation to Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated and its local chapter, Beta Zeta Zeta, for their contributions to Hamilton County. Be it further proclaimed that on February 29th, 2024, the Board of Hamilton County Commissioners do hereby declare Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Day in all of Hamilton County. And I'm not sure, is someone here to represent? Yes. Hello. Before I do that, I do want to open it up, though. Do you have anything to add?
Welcome. Thank you for being here. From this description, you're obviously lifting up families in this community. So thank you so much for all the work you're doing.
Thank you. My name is Doris Stokes. I am a member.
She knew it was going to be short. Congratulations.
Thank you. I am Doris Stokes, a member of Beta Zeta Zeta chapter. We do have another chapter here in Cincinnati too. Pi Sigma Zeta chapter is chartered in 1996. We agree with everything that you have said in your proclamation about us, and we are very proud of the work that we do. We are committed to serving children and women and girls. And another aspect of our service will be the Get Engaged campaign to get out the vote this year. which is a very important year to get out the vote. So we're thankful to the County Board of Commissioners for your recognition, and we couldn't say we're more prouder than of you and what we've done. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, come up and have a photo with us. Oh, this gotta go down.
All right. Thank you.
We look crazy trying to muscle these things around. Yeah.
We have Sigma Gamma Rho Incorporated. Okay. Whereas Sigma Gamma Rho Incorporated was founded on November 12, 1922 in Indianapolis, Indiana by 7 young educators, Mary Lou Allison, Gardner Little, Dorothy Hanley Whiteside, Vivian Irene White Marbury, Nanny Mae Gone Johnson, Hattie Mae Annette Dullen Redfern, Betsy Mae Downey Rhodes Martin, and Cubana McClure. Whereas Sigma Gamma Rho Incorporated local chapter, Epsilon Lambda Sigma, was chartered on November 1st, 1980 in Cincinnati, Ohio by the Iota Sigma chapter. Whereas Epsilon Lambda Sigma chapter invests in the betterment of Hamilton County, including but not limited to Operation Big Book Bag, Project Cradle Care, Kathleen Cook Foundation, a partnership with St. Jude's, and more. Sigma Gamma Rho sorority became an incorporated national collegiate sorority on December 30th, 1929. Sigma Gamma Rho sorority incorporated lives by its mission statement to enhance the quality of life of women and their families in the U.S. and globally throughout community service, civil, and social actions. Since Sigma Gamma Rho sorority incorporates inception, Sigma Gamma Rho has welcomed more than 100,000 collegiate and professional women from every profession and has more than 500 chapters in the United States, Bahamas, Bermuda, Canada, Germany, South Korea, U.S. Virgin Islands, and the United Arab Emirates. Therefore, be it proclaimed that the Hamilton County Commissioners, on behalf of its residents and the entire community, hereby extends its deepest gratitude and appreciation to Sigma Gamma Rho Incorporated and their local chapters, Epsilon Lambda Sigma and Iota Sigma Sigma, for their contributions to Hamilton County. Be it further proclaimed that March the 1st, 2024 will be known as Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated Day in all of Hamilton County. And Vice President Driehaus.
Thank you for being here. It's great to see you, and thanks for what you're doing in our community.
Commissioner Dumas.
Congratulations.
Ms. Butel.
Yes. Well, first of all, on behalf of our ambassadors, who's our president, Bridget Walker, I am so excited to be here. We all are so excited to be here. In fact, it was probably a little over a year ago, back in 2022, we were privileged to have Sigma Gamma Rho Day in the city of Cincinnati as we celebrated 100 years of greater service, greater progress nationally. So we stand on the proud shoulders of 7 educators in Indianapolis, Indiana at Butler University. And it goes, we need to point this out in that back in that time, they were on Butler's campus in the height of the KKK activity around them. In fact, they walked to school right past the Grand Wizard's house. So we come from a very, very resilient people, and we're very honored to have them as part of our history. So education is very important to us. I am a proud charter member of Epsilon Lambda Sigma chapter. We have served the Cincinnati community for over 43 years through all of our programs that you mentioned, and then some. Our E. Kathleen Cook Foundation was founded in 2019. E. Kathleen Cook was a Cincinnati public school teacher, and she loved the babies, and she loved to teach. And so we named that foundation after her, and we provide scholarships through that foundation. So our shameless plug today is that we're hosting a luncheon on April 13th, the E. Kathleen Scholarship Brunch. Actually, it's not lunch, it's a brunch. And it will be held at the Hilton Garden Inn in Evanston, and the information is on our website and through Eventbrite. And the last thing I want to share too is that, and we really appreciate being a part of this celebration. This is magical to have all of us in the same room because we share that common history, we share love, we share friendly competition. Some of us have other sororities and stuff in our families and stuff, but we love each other. And Lord knows we need each other. There's so much to be done in our communities. And so it's not like we have a monopoly on anything. There's enough to do for everyone. So thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you for the recognition. We appreciate that.
Thank you. Come on up and have a picture with us. That's the best camera. Thank you so much. And the last sorority is Gamma Phi Delta Sorority Inc., New Phi chapter. And they had brought some students with them from SCPA. So, but they had to get back to school. But they will have their day, Gamma Phi Delta Sorority Inc. Day, on March the 2nd in all of Hamilton County. And their chapter president is Angela Martin, who was the teacher that brought the students earlier, and they got to meet a lot of people earlier. So we will make sure that we get that to them. So I will now turn it over to Vice President Driehaus for her selections.
Thank you all for being here again. I'm recognizing 3 individuals that I think have made significant contributions to this community. It's a real thrill to have them here today. So I'm going to proceed with my first one. Marvin Smith is with us. Ladies, I don't mean to offend anybody, but the best dressed person in the room is Marvin Smith. Appreciate you doing that. So I'm just going to read through the proclamation. Whereas there's a first clause that talks about the importance of Black History Month and what we're doing, celebrating here today. So whereas Marvin Smith was born in Zebulon, Georgia, in 1960 to 6 brothers and 5 sisters, and is a graduate of Wittenberg University, where he received a degree in economics, and Xavier University, where he received a master's in education. And whereas Marvin Smith served his country with honor in the Air Force during the Vietnam War for 4 years, stationed in Thailand, where he taught Laotian pilots how to fly and repair aircrafts. And whereas in December 1993, Marvin Smith bought the rights to Ollie's Trolley from former Kentucky Governor John Brown and opened on the corner of Liberty Street and Central Avenue. This is what I think what we all know about Marvin Smith. Ollie's Trolley has catered for hundreds of corporate and nonprofit events, professional athletes, and elected leaders, including members of the Hamilton County Commission, as well as President Obama and Michelle Obama. And whereas Marvin Smith in the evenings serves as an adjunct professor at Chatfield College, teaching business and society classes, where his goal has been to motivate young people who may be first-generation college students or older individuals switching careers to earn their degrees to get focused and have a fresh start. And whereas Ollie's Trolley has been serving delicious Southern-styled food, including their notorious ribs, the mac and cheese, collard greens, brisket, chest pie, and sweet potato pie for many, many glorious years. I added that one.
Getting hungry in here.
That's right. Whereas Ollie's Trolley is also home to the famous Ollie Burger. It is a landmark and point of destination in the West End. Today, it's one of the few Black-owned businesses left in the West End neighborhood. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Hamilton County Board of Commissioners recognizes the dedication and commitment of Marvin Smith to the residents of Hamilton County, and be it further proclaimed that the board does hereby proclaim the 23rd day of February 2024 as Marvin Smith Day in all of Hamilton County. Go on over and say a word if you'd like.
Ollies, Ollies. I just want to say thank you. I thank you for the customers I've had over the past 30 years. I thank you for the ups and downs that it comes with running a business. I've dedicated myself to staying at that location. I've had many offers to be bought out, but I want to stay there and be a recognized Black business in that neighborhood. And I want to thank you and ask you to continue to patronize the business and come get one of those deep fried turkeys.
That's right.
Before you leave, I want to open up. Commissioner Dumas wants to say something.
Yeah, thank you. Congratulations. You've always been so supportive, not only of the community, but of me. And so I appreciate that and all the work that you do. You do more than cooking down there, because I've seen you talk to the people that live in that area. So you have been a great motivator, I'm sure, for a lot of young kids down there. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I want to add, you go way back with my mother and Integrity Hall, and just growing up watching you and grow with the chefs. Before we had the TV chefs, you were always a chef. But I want to say this, that's very important. You've always given back to the community. I also want to thank you, the state of the county. Everybody ate up all my food, even the plate you put aside for me. Someone ate it. I said, man, why would you do me like that? So the food was really, really good. You said, man, they ate me out of a house and a home down there. But I think you have a historical, you're not just a chef. You have a historical location in the West End, with murals to talk about the history of the West End, and you are history. And so as they're moving forward, we've got to have something with our history still left, and you're there. So I'm glad you want to stay, and we should all be supportive of you staying, because you've employed people, you've fed people, you've given back to the community, and you are a historical landmark for the West End. So we're so happy. Thank you for bringing them forward.
You're a mentor, and you've been such a delight for many, many years for all three of us. So we're just thrilled to recognize you today. So
Thank
I know
you.
you've got part of your team here too, I believe. Am I right? team member.
He got him back there cooking at the place.
All right, just check.
He got a business to keep open.
Yes.
Well, honestly, I was a little worried about the timing. I'm glad you're here because I know it was lunchtime when you got here. So thanks for making the time for us.
Thank you.
Come up and take a photo with us.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, I have it. Yep.
One more. Perfect.
All right. My next honoree is Leah Dennis Ellsworth over here on the side. Come up, please come over to the podium. So glad to see you. So whereas Leah Dennis Ellsworth, born and raised in the West End in November 1960 as one of 13 siblings, has been a community advocate and trailblazer for well over 40 years with a history of service to empower and educate the underserved population. Whereas as a licensed social worker, educator, and public administrator, Leah has worked for the following agencies: Talbot House, Hamilton County Pretrial Services, the YMCA, CMHA, Central Community Health Board, UC, Cincinnati Public Schools, and UMADOP. Whereas Leah served on the Hamilton County Addiction Response Coalition as co-chair of the Prevention Committee and helped expand treatment and recovery services, especially in the African American community. And whereas Leah lived in the community of Avondale for over 40 years and has been an active volunteer in the community. She served 2 terms with the Avondale Community Council as a board of director, treasurer, and community officer, providing advocacy work for homeowners and resident engagement training. And whereas Leah chaired the annual Avondale Health Fair and Community Festival, which under her leadership set an attendance record of 400 participants, 25 vendors, and platinum level sponsors. And whereas in the community mental health and addiction services field, Leah blazed the trail of community case management. It was on the forefront of developing the mobile crisis team with the University of Cincinnati. Additionally, as program director of CMHA, Leah co-authored grant proposals for crime reduction, drug prevention, resident self-sufficiency, and grassroots leadership programs. And whereas during her 4-year tenure at UMADOP, Leah has written and generated over $4 million in grant funding to build the agency of staff infrastructure from 10 to 35 staff members. This met her goal to expand community partnerships and its mission to address the rise in culturally relevant substance abuse and mental health integrated services. And whereas Leah has endlessly demonstrated her commitment and dedication to the residents of Hamilton County as an instrumental resource and inspiration to all those she has encountered. Her life's purpose is to help others who are socially and economically disadvantaged to know they deserve a quality of life. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of Commissioners recognizes the dedication and commitment of Leah Dennis Ellsworth to the residents of Hamilton County, and be it further proclaimed that the Board does hereby proclaim the 24th day of February 2024 as Leah Dennis Ellsworth Day in all of Hamilton County.
Thank you so much, President Alicia Reese, Vice President Denise Treehouse, and Commissioner Stephanie Summerall Dumas. Thank you for this honor. It has really been my life lesson that has been the result of a parent who always said to me, much is given, much is required. And coming from a sharecropper's grandparents who always said that anytime you do something for someone else, it represents what God knows your purpose are for you to do and to make sure that those things are making your living not be in vain. And that's what I've always wanted to do. But more importantly, I like to talk about today or represent today Humidata Cincinnati, which is my last, and I have retired at this point, but my last, what I call a mission. Humidata Cincinnati has its own historical um, um, Black history. It was, again, developed during 1988 for the need for drug um, prevention, drug addiction, and it was the only legislated organization that was designed for African Americans and Hispanic. So we have our own history, Black history, as it relates to Humidata Cincinnati. More importantly, some of the work that I have done with also Vice President Denise Driehaus have included the need to have inclusivity and diversity on a larger scale of the heroin addiction response steering committee, where it was very important to have someone like me or Humadot, which is me, represented in a way to be the voices of those vulnerable populations that we serve. And I thank again Vice President Denise Driehaus for allowing that kind of voice to be heard and to be not omitted in the decision-making process. So thank you again for this honor. I really appreciate it. I am now retired, but I still will be around the table with this gray hair, making sure those decisions are made for that vulnerable population. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Before you leave, Commissioner Dumas, would you like to say something?
Thank you for all you do. You haven't done enough. As you say, you're retiring, you're retired, this is your last mission. I guess you decided it was your last mission, but I don't know if it's your last mission. You have so much more to give. So I thank you for all that you've already given. Thank you
so much. Thank you.
Thank you for being on the front lines when it wasn't popular,
Yes, it was.
when it wasn't acceptable, and there wasn't much understanding, and particularly people who look like us. It was not understanding. It was stigmatized. It was criminalized. But because you've been at the table, have been able to be a part of this new process and understanding that people need help. So thank you for dedicating that. And don't tell me you retired, because I look for retired people, because I like to put them to work.
I'm still there.
Well, thank you. Come on up and get a photo.
Just real quickly.
Vice President.
So you referenced it, and so I'm going to build a little bit. With the Addiction Response Coalition, we had a small group on the steering committee, and we said to ourselves, not everybody's sitting at the table. And so we called on Leah and Humadot to join us. Yes. And your contribution to that group continues to live in the spirit of how we treat people with issues related to addiction and mental health in this community. And so thank you for, I know it's your life's work, thank you for bringing that expertise and compassion to the work that we do so we can better understand how to respond to people that are suffering from addiction. So it's really been impactful, and I want you to know that that voice lives on at the table. Even though you're retired, you really set a very high bar.
Thank you for that.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Come on up, let's get a photo.
Here, come on over. We got your problem. Yeah. My last proclamation goes to a man. I can't see you, John. You're behind the pole, but I know you're here. So come on forward if you don't mind. So Mayor Smith from Silverton, welcome, Mr. Mayor. Your reputation precedes you. We all know you. We all love you. Since I've been in public service, and it's been a minute, you've always been the mayor of Silverton. You've always been the champion. You've been the representation of all the good work going on in Silverton. So I'm just delighted that you're here and really thrilled to recognize your work. So whereas John Anderson Smith is a lifelong resident of Cincinnati, Ohio, John was raised on the west side of Silverton and was a 1958 graduate of Taft High School. John also holds a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration from UC. Additionally, John attended the Athenaeum of Ohio and is a graduate of the DeSales School of Technology in Washington, D.C. And whereas while working and raising 5 children with his first wife, Dolores, John took a job at the Norwood General Motors plant where he retired after 25 years of service. He was the first Black labor relations representative at the Norwood plant. John was instrumental in helping family members, friends, and acquaintances secure employment while at General Motors. And whereas after John's retirement, he worked for Cincinnati Public Schools as a paraprofessional where he discovered his heart for children and families who needed love and advocacy. After retirement from CPS, John took on employment with Beach Acres School in Anderson Township in the role of a family mentor. And whereas John has served as an executive co-chair of the Hamilton County Democratic Party and former chairperson of the Silverton Democratic Club, and whereas John's consistent joy has been to be the mayor of the village of Silverton, Ohio, since 2005, having previously served 12 years as a council member and 6 years as the vice mayor. And where John is a former recipient of the Martin Luther King Keep the Dream Alive Award in 2010, and whereas John, as the mayor of Silverton, has overseen the construction of a new elementary school, a new United Dairy Farmers, a new baseball diamond, an upgraded Veterans Memorial, a new luxury multifamily residential development, Silverton's first bakery, and the move of the village offices to a new location. New businesses are constantly coming into the area, finding a thriving community of support. John has instituted community events and programs in Silverton, including the Taste of Silverton, the Mayor's Community Brunch, Keep Silverton Beautiful Week, Silverton Walking Club, and the first Silverton Gospel Fest. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of Commissioners recognizes the dedication and commitment of John Smith to Hamilton County, and be it further recognized and hereby proclaimed that the 25th day of February 2024 is John Smith Day in all of Hamilton County.
Thank you, and thank you.
And thank you.
I am honored, thank you. I am honored to be the recipient of this proclamation. I have been in public service as long as I can remember. And when I retire, I intend to stay doing something in public service. I enjoy it. I enjoy working with the people. We did a lot of good things in the Silverton community. Just a reminder for those that are here, the reminder that next month, March the 9th, we're going to have our annual Mayor's State of the City, Mayor's Community Brunch. It's going to be at Beacons Florist, 6000 Plainfield Road. Around 10 o'clock, you're open and you're welcome. Also, one of the other big events that we're going to have this year in Silverton, which is getting bigger and bigger, it's so big we're going to shut part of Montgomery Road down. We're going to have the annual Taste of Silverton. It's going to be on Saturday, June the 15th, around 4:30, 4:45. We don't need a passport to come to Silverton. All you have to do is show up and say, I want to have some fun, be with my family, bring some friends. We're going to have good food. We're going to have good adult drinks. So if you'd like to, I would appreciate you bringing someone with you, and I had a good time. And again, thank you, and thank you for letting me have a proclamation under your establishment. I'm grateful, and I'm humble, and I give you thanks in all things. Thank you, and thank you.
Mayor, before you go, I'll open up Commissioner Dumas. Do you want to say something?
Thank you. Thank you for all you do. I know you have Silverton carved in your heart. right next to your wife. So thank you so much. Whenever I need information or what's going on in that area, you're always open to talk
Yes.
to me, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I just want to say thank you, Mr. Silverton, for life.
Thank you.
You are Mr. Silverton, and all your accomplishments, what you've done in that community, and I'll be there. So keep spending money like I've been spending money. That's what you always tell me. Make sure you drop off some money before you come. Don't just come and wait.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
We're
come
very
on up and
appreciative.
get a picture with us.
Okay. Thank you. The gentleman to my right is Silverton's finest manager, Jim Jack Cameron. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Dumas.
You can sit until you okay. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, I have 3 recipients that I have chosen, and it is my humble honor to choose Mrs. Ruby Shuttlesworth Bester, who is the daughter of Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth, who was an icon himself. But oftentimes we don't know about Ruby, and she is an icon, and she is a civil rights advocate. So I am going to read the proclamation. Whereas Ruby Frederica Shuttlesworth Bester, aka Ricky, was born January the 7th, 1945 in Mobile, Alabama, the second daughter of Reverend Fred L. and Mrs. Ruby K. Shuttlesworth. After living in Mobile, Montgomery, and Selma, Ruby and her family moved to Birmingham when her father was called to pastor historic Bethel Baptist Church at age 8. Whereas at age 11, her family's home was bombed on Christmas night. Ruby's family was in the house, along with Deacon Robinson, his wife, and granddaughter, because of a plan to ride and integrate the Birmingham city buses the next day. And whereas at age 12, Reverend Pfeiffer drove Reverend and Mrs. Shuttlesworth, Pat, Ricky, and Nathaniel Lee to integrate Phillips High School, where Reverend Shuttlesworth was severely beaten. Mrs. Shuttlesworth was stabbed in the hip, and the door was slammed on Ricky's ankle. And whereas at age 15, Ruby, Fred Jr., and Pat were arrested and spent the night in jail in Gadsden, Alabama, for sitting in the front of an interstate bus. Later that year, injured freedom riders were welcomed into family's home, the now restored parsonage across the street from the bombed church. And whereas at age 16, Ricky graduated from A.H. Parker High School and left the next day for Cincinnati to take Spanish and be qualified to attend the University of Cincinnati. And whereas Reverend L.V. Booth, founder of the Progressive Baptist Convention, had invited her father to accept the pastorate of Revelation Baptist Church in Cincinnati. There she met the love of her life, Harold Hubert Bester. And whereas at age 18, Ruby and Pat attended and heard their father, Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth, speak along with Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and others at the first march on Washington on August 28, 1963. And whereas Ruby earned her master's degree in special education from the University of Cincinnati and served for 30 years as a special educator and department head for 27 years at Princeton Junior High. And whereas Ruby married Harold Bester in 1965, and their union produced Audra, Raquel, and Harold Stephen. And whereas Ruby has shared the Birmingham story by speaking at many universities and conducting educational tours with children and families to help them know their history and exercise their right as Americans. She has spoken to many organizations, universities, and corporations over the years. And whereas Ruby is presently completing a book, 89 Years, an inclusive look at American history, a work in progress, and is forever grateful to the many unsung heroes who have helped her along the way. Whereas Ruby continues to share the struggles and the calamities endured by her father, Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth, who was born on March 18, 1922, and shares them with her family. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Hamilton County Board of Commissioners recognizes the dedication and commitment of Mrs. Ruby Shuttlesworth Bester to the residents of Hamilton County. Be it further proclaimed that the Board of Commissioners of Hamilton County does hereby proclaim March the 18th, which is your dad's birthday, 2024, the birthday of Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth. We proclaim it Mrs. Ruby Shuttlesworth Bester Day in all of Hamilton County, and it's signed by all of you.
I'm sorry, I got caught up. I got choked up for a second. I'll open it up to Vice President Driehaus, and then I'll say something, then you got the floor.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story and your history so that we can learn from what you've experienced and what you've lived through. It's lovely to meet you. I've never met you before. It's a real honor. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you. The resiliency of what Black history is about. The key word that Vice President Driehaus said, lived through. And you're still here, you're still standing and going to write a book that can go to the future generations to be able to understand the struggles. So as they go through struggles, they can understand the lineage that they come from. So super excited, and congratulations.
Thank you. I am so honored to be here. You know, my daddy used to say, I want to wear out and not rust out. And that's exactly what he did. He lived for 89 years, but he was instrumental in doing so many things that made 2024 better. He used to say that we were first citizens and the first freedom riders because we always did things as a family of 6. Well, we've lost 2. My mother left us at a very young age of 48, and my father left us at 89. When I realized that many of the history books did not tell the story of Birmingham, and not just my father, but what the unsung heroes of Birmingham had done, I said, I'm going to tell it. And for years, I've been writing a book that is inclusive of the people that sacrificed, that believe that God will take care of us. Because of what was done by the governor of Alabama when he outlawed the NAACP, within a week, Daddy organized the Alabama Christian Movement for Human Rights. And with that, he struggled to bring about change, not just for Black people. Well, we weren't called Black then, we were called colored or Negro. but for all people. That's why it was called the Alabama Christian Movement for Human Rights. But you know what? God has been our leader. God has been the thing that brought Jewish people, people of all colors, to help us in Birmingham. And God will bring us together in 2024 as we try to bring back this damaged country. We need to learn to love each other more. The movement was nonviolent, and we must stop thinking negatively. I love you, and you love me. We are all a part of God's creation. He created us to take care of each other, and I was honored that you honored the sororities and the organizations that help the community. There is something for everybody to do. We just need to ask God to show us the way. I want to thank, and I know we're going to take a picture. So everybody, I want to thank you, board. I am truly honored on behalf of my father, my mother, my siblings, my children and my grandchildren. We thank you. You honor us when you say, we appreciate what you have done. But there's a song that I want you to help me sing as the people that came out come up. I'm talking about Brother Hilton, would you go up? All of my family, would you go up for this picture? Go up, go. I want everybody that came, Julia and William, and I saw Sean on the camera, and I saw Jody. Would you kind of go up? While they're going up, I want you to help me sing just one verse. God is the joy and the strength of my life. He moves all things. He promised to keep me, never to leave me. He never fall short of his word. I had to fast and pray, stay in the narrow way. Got to keep my life clean every day. I want to go with him when he comes back. I've come too far and I'll never turn back. God is, God is, God is, God is, God is my all and
Glory, glory. Glory, glory. Thank you. Hallelujah.
Can I just say one more thing? I see Andrew Manis, writer of A Fire You Can't Put Out, in the back of the book. That documentary is coming out in the spring, and it tells in brilliant color, in Daddy's words, what happened. Thank you for coming.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And Michael Mitchell's birthday is today. Happy birthday, Michael.
Hey!
Are we finished?
Okay, one more. Sorry. I don't want her. You can't stand.
Yeah, we gonna get you.
Okay, okay, we gotta get her back. Chair.
I got it.
We don't hear that very well.
Keep moving in that chair. All right, I'll go on to my next presentation. And this presentation is for Sheila Holmes Howard. Whereas Sheila Holmes Howard, originally from New York and lived in California for 17 years, and has lived in Cincinnati for the past 21 years. She's been married to Greg Howard for 25 years. She has 19 nieces and nephews and 15 great nieces and nephews, and attends Crossroads Community Church. Sheila has dedicated her time to participate, contribute, and provide her services through community involvement, and it all started in her Avondale neighborhood. Whereas Sheila served 18 years as a board trustee, board secretary, and vice president of the Avondale Community Council, she also hosted Avondale's Avenue District Block Club's annual Thanksgiving food drive, serving a record 1,050 families with turkeys and bags of food, an annual Christmas toy giveaway for 12 years. She is a lifetime member of the Avondale Community Council. And whereas she worked for the Board of Elections 10 years as a poll worker and voting location manager, the 2010 U.S. Census as a partnership assistant and crew leader supervisor. And whereas Sheila has a 37-year career as a realtor, assisting buyers, sellers, and investors, specializing in residential, commercial, land foreclosures, and more. Her license is held by Owner Land Realty. Her business name is SHH Realty Company, LLC, a Better Business Bureau A+ rating. She was the first African American to earn the Realtors Political Action Committee Wall of Fame recognition at the Realtors Alliance of Greater Cincinnati. RPAC Financial Investments helped to elect candidates that will understand and support realtor interests and issues, especially protecting property owners' rights and more. Whereas Sheila provides her real estate services to Habitat for Humanity of Greater Cincinnati and served as a board of director for 12 years. She continues to assist as a family service advocate for potential new families applying for home ownership and opportunities. Whereas Sheila was the first African American to represent the Hamilton County Commissioners, past president Todd Pertune and Denise Driehaus at the Board of Revision. She provided her real estate experience and knowledge to assist with the tax valuation hearing process. And whereas she is a member of the Collective Empowerment Group of Metro Cincinnati, the Mount Auburn Chamber of Commerce, the African American Chamber of Commerce, and many other organizations. Whereas she has been honored over the years with Community Leadership and Service Awards, Nefertiti Award, Dada Rafika Award, an Avondale Resident of the Year Award, Avondale Community Champion in 2022, Top Business Award from the Collective Empowerment Group of Metro Cincinnati in 2023, the Spirit of Deborah Award, and since 2015, Owner Land Realty Top Producer $1 Million Club Award. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Hamilton County Board of Commissioners recognizes the dedication and commitment of Mrs. Sheila Holmes Howard to the residents of Hamilton County. Be it further proclaimed that the Board of Commissioners of Hamilton County, Ohio, does hereby proclaim February the 22nd, 2024 as Mrs. Sheila Holmes Howard Day in all of Hamilton County.
Thank you. First things first, I want to thank God for his grace and mercy as I stand here today being recognized at this momentous occasion. I would like to acknowledge the presence of Hamilton County Commissioners, President Alicia Reese and Vice President Denise Driehaus. I especially want to give a heartfelt thank you to Commissioner Stephanie Summerall-Dumas for thinking of me and choosing me for this honor. Many thanks to her Chief of Staff, Mr. Bobby Hilton, who called me early one morning with this great honor, and all who participated with this event. I'm so grateful and humbled to be recognized in this manner. An enormous thank you to my husband, Greg, my immediate family in Cincinnati, and from New York to California, all of my friends, colleagues, clients, and then all of you that are here, for giving me and showing me your continuous support and encouragement. As my journey continues, I will still be available to assist where needed, because I truly believe if you do the right things for the right reasons, all will be well. Thank you so much. God bless.
Yes.
Thank you. Before you, hold on. We got more for you. Before you take your photo, I open up Vice President Driehaus.
Just very quickly, thank you so much for your service on the Board of Revisions. That seems like a million years ago now, but so glad that you were in a position to say yes when we offered that position to you. I understand you're thinking about doing it again. More power to you, I say. They're going to be busy this year. But really, it's really important to have you representing the community on that board. So thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to say, I know Vice President Driehaus and former Commissioner Pertune, when you were presidents, making history as the first African-American to be on the Board of Revisions. And I just wanted to highlight that she is back on that board. That's the president, I appointed her. So I don't know if that's 10,000 cases, but I think you can handle it. But I do want to thank you for your willingness to serve, particularly this time. This is a very important time, and you'll be interacting with so many people. And with your diverse experience and knowledge, I think will be phenomenal. And the fact that you'd been on that board before, so you'll bring experience to it as well. So thank you for serving.
Thanks.
Come on up and get a photo.
Thank you. All right, I have one additional recipient. And he's not able to be here. I don't know why he couldn't be here. He just let a horse fall on him. This is, you're his sister, aren't you? Yeah, okay. So I'm going to read this. I thought it was just outstanding when I heard about Deshaun Parker, and you'll understand why when I read this. Okay. Whereas African-American professional racing jockey Deshaun I. Parker, is it I or L? This is my L. Yeah, I'm looking. Was born in Cincinnati, Ohio in 1971 and has been a highly decorated rider since he began in 1988 at the age of 16 years old. And whereas Deshaun wanted to play baseball on a professional level before falling in love with thoroughbred racing, whereas Deshaun was introduced to the sport by his father, Darrell Parker, the first Black racing steward in the United States, who allowed Deshaun to accompany him. And whereas being the son of the first Black racing steward in the United States provided Deshaun with invaluable resources and inspiration to cultivate his understanding of the officiating and administrative side of the sport. And whereas standing at 5'11", one might say that this slender stature may be fit for most athletic competition. However, in his sport of mastery, Deshaun is one of the tallest jockeys to not only race, but to be as accomplished in victories. The sport is widely regarded for the beauty, grace, and speed of his horses, with their riders being smaller in physical appearance. In fact, it is unheard of in thoroughbred racing for jockeys to have his height. And this is an attribute, that he has brought him attention throughout his time on the tracks, most of which he excelled beyond expectations. Whereas after winning his first race at Thistle Downs, Ohio, Deshaun continued to build upon his illustrious 35-year career by breaking records, becoming a national champion, and recognized by his peers for his exceptional personal and professional conduct. Whereas Deshaun has won over 6,000 races during his professional career, surpassing all odds with his humble, laid-back, and cool approach to life. He is the hands-down leading African-American jockey in total wins, as well as a top 20 all-time American jockey. And whereas over the years, his major awards and accomplishments include all-time winner at Mountaineer Racetrack, Mike Venezia Award recipient for sportsmanship, Lafitte Pinkay Jr. Achievement Award recipient, and George Wolfe Award recipient, voted by his fellow jockeys. And whereas Deshaun Parker has been highly decorated for his performance in thoroughbred racing and reached the highest pinnacle at the Horseshoe Casino in Indianapolis, where he won his 6,000th race. A career milestone. I think I'm excited because, you know why I'm excited? Because I'm thinking, and I don't want to take away from the proclamation, my favorite book growing up was Black Beauty, and I'm thinking about that as I read, so I apologize. He credits his father, Darrell Parker, who passed away after a battle with cancer, for always keeping him calm during his journey and leading up to achieving this mark. He feels that memories of his father gave him strength to endure, and that he was with him while riding race winner for Mama to victory and for Father Darrell. This amazing accomplishment is one he is most proud of, as Deshaun is one of only 21 jockeys to ever reach this incredible milestone. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Hamilton County Board of Commissioners recognizes the dedication and commitment of Mr. Deshaun Parker to the residents of Hamilton County. And be it further proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Hamilton County does hereby proclaim February the 21st, 2024 as Mr. Deshaun Parker Day in all of Hamilton County. So we have Deshaun's sister, Polara Deshaun. Okay. Should I start over?
No.
Sorry. Okay, Deshaun. Okay. She's receiving in his behalf. Did you want to let them speak? Or?
Yeah, let them speak.
Okay. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Pilar Parker. I am the sister of Deshaun Parker along with Nicole Roberts. What an honor it is to be in the room today with my family, accompanied on behalf of my brother Deshaun Parker. The bio read, I am honored to call him my brother. Unfortunately, he was not able to attend today due to some unforeseen circumstances. While riding, Deshaun and the horse went down, which led to him breaking his hip another time. So it's time for him to retire. But he too is honored to be acknowledged, and he do wish he could have been here to make his presence today. So I thank you for keeping him in mind. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. We're going to open it up. Vice President Driehaus.
Thank you. Thank you both for being here. I'm so sorry about the injury. You know, one thing I know about jockeys is they're about my size. They're about 5 foot. So somebody that's 5'11", I imagine he's a person that says, I'm doing it anyway, right?
Yes.
So, and a trendsetter, obviously, in the field. So really, it's wonderful to hear the story about your brother. And thank you all for being here to represent him, and congratulations to you both.
Thank you.
It's an honor to hear his story, and it's so encouraging for the next generation. And as always, when you start off when someone says you can't do it or you don't have the right size or the right look, and then you overcome it, that's really what history's about, Black history. So, but when I heard about the year he was born, as the same age as me, and I break my hip, twice. I don't know if I can recover. So he is in great shape. So speedy recovery, Deshaun, and thank you so much for bringing him forward for Black History Month. And hopefully you'll get a chance to talk to more kids and see his story.
Thank you.
He's in New Orleans. Oh, he's recovered. So he's down there with Gumbo and Jambalaya right now. He's got Gumbo and Jambalaya down in New Orleans. Well, Speedy, whatever. And I went to Grambling, so Louisiana. I know he's got some good food. But again, it's great to share this story for our next generation of youth. So thank you so much.
Want to come up?
The family want to come and join for a photo? Come over here so we can see. There you go. Trying to hide. Any more pictures? Kim, you get your picture?
Thank you.
So that's Stephanie's. Yeah. Woman in the with the pink
I'm coming back. I'm coming back. Okay, everyone, this concludes our 2024 Black History Month celebration. Just congratulations to everyone that has been honored. I know we've got another presentation and we've got to get out of here. But I'm going to take a 2-minute so everybody can, I know you got to get out of here. You don't have to stay. You could go in the hallway and mix and mingle. But I'm going to take a 2-minute, there's a 2-minute break. And then we'll come back with our final presentation that Mr. Ludo will be making. All right, we're back. Next is a presentation of the Duke Energy Convention Center overview agreements. Mr. Ludo.
Thank you, Commissioner. So this is an overview of the 3 seminal agreements associated with the Duke Energy Convention Center project. These are coming forward to the board potentially as by-leave item on Thursday, so just wanted to walk the board through it. The good news is the majority of this information you have seen before, either through items I've included in my weekly summaries to you, or as part of prior pre-development agreements, et cetera. So a lot of this information is not new, so I'm going to try to go through it fairly quickly here, except for the fact that we're not started yet. Christy, would you mind hitting that? Thank you. Thank you. So the just first and foremost, we're talking about a project that's associated with the $200 million renovation of the Duke Energy Convention Center. This also includes the new public plaza at the former Millennium Hotel site and a new 800-room convention headquarter hotel on the parking lot at 5th and Plum. So I'm going to give a little bit of updates on these, walk you through the agreements associated with the convention center project, but I'll also give you an update on the hotel project. And in fact, I'm going to start with that. And I'm going to try to go through this fairly quickly, as I know the board is familiar with a lot of this information, so please let me know if you have any questions. But first, in terms of the hotel, this project does contemplate an 800-room headquarter hotel. As the board is aware, and we've talked about before, there is typically a public subsidy associated with headquarter hotels, but in this case, it is really synergistic with the redevelopment and revitalization of the convention center. The county, the city, 3CDC was involved with a selection process that chose Portman Holdings as the developer for the headquarter hotel, and negotiations with that developer remain in progress. The funding gap associated with the hotel has been discussed as approximately $160 million, or roughly 33% of the total cost, which are estimated at $480 million for that headquarter hotel. And just for folks who may be watching at home, headquarter hotels are not like other traditional hotels in that there are some different things that the public is asking for, whether it's more meeting room space, more ballroom space within the hotel itself, additional the commitment to hold room blocks available for conventions, et cetera. So there's some things that the public asks for from a convention hotel that isn't typically in a traditional hotel that necessitates that public subsidy. In our case, estimated at $160 million. That is not out of the realm of ordinary, considering other recent headquarter hotel projects in some of our like cities. This is a little too small for folks at home to probably read, but whereas our gap is estimated at 33%, we've seen gaps in comparable cities ranging from 31% to 50%. Louisville was at 44%, Nashville at 40%, Kansas City 50%. So the gap is something that we are working on, and we have some recent positive news in that regard. We had proposed several different public funding items as a means of helping the overall convention district and thus the overall headquarter hotel project. So we've learned recently that the convention district project was the recipient of a $40 million transitional mixed-use development application from award from the state of Ohio. That was the largest commitment by the state in this particular round. I believe it may be the, if not one of the largest TMUD awards ever in the state of Ohio. So good news on that front. That slices away at that gap, as does the state's commitment of its catalytic capital fund to the county, or to the city and the county's convention district project as well. We know that the House has committed $22 million in a bill. The overall request was $50 million. We are hoping for similar action from the Senate as well. And then we also have other tools in our tool belt as well in terms of the occupancy tax, incremental financing off of the headquarter hotel itself, a 1% new community authority fee that will be put into place. So all of these things looking to close that 160 million gap. And I think the two things that have been announced to date get us significantly there when combined with these other tools, but those conversations continue. Just for those who may be watching at home, this is the picture that I know the board has seen before of the proposed design. Just wanted to show the board again that that is the most current rendering. And we are looking at schematic design of that hotel ongoing right now between now and June. The development agreement coming forward in the third quarter of 2024 with the hope that we would begin construction in the fourth quarter of 24, completing construction in Q3 of 2026. Now move on to the convention center project itself. As it relates to the convention center project, the plan has been a $200 million project that would facilitate a renovation and revitalization of the Duke Energy Convention Center, and funded that $200 million funded through a consolidation, a combination, a joint plan of finance between the city, the county, and other TOT resources that are available. So basically taking all of our occupancy taxes, pulling them together in one financing plan to fund this public project. I'm going to walk through a few of the latest renderings here. The board, I know, has seen these before, but just for the public who may be watching at home, but just a bit, as I'm not going to say a whole lot about the individual renderings, but just to let the public know that the project in general relates to, as you can already see from this first rendering, a significant upgrade of the facade, but also a significant upgrade of the many systems that support the convention center. Everything from the roof, the HVAC system, the electrical system, the technology, and importantly, making this center more efficient and effective for what it does, and making sure that the space within the convention center can be used efficiently, that it can be used for multiple events concurrently, so we can book the convention center more frequently and more fully every time that we do. So that's just a little bit about the renovation. I'm going to walk through some of the schematics here, or some of the renderings. Shows you some of the open space within the center itself, the entrance space redeveloped, etc. So again, I wanted to walk through that fairly quickly. I believe the board has these renderings as well, so if there's anything that you're looking for, I'm happy to walk through the board separately. In terms of the finance overview, this is something that the board has seen on several occasions before, but again, focusing on the uses of the project, we are looking at a $200 million project, paying off the original bond issuance as well in terms of the old Duke Energy Center debt, the Millennium debt, et cetera, and funding and packaging that into a new plan of finance. There's obviously reserves, contingency, and pre-development costs funded as well through the overall issuance. A chart that has become relatively known, or very known to the board, is our historical and city and county combined TOT revenue. So you can see that just the huge gap there for COVID. But the great news is how quickly this revenue stream has rebounded. It's rebounded quicker than, well, as quickly as we had certainly hoped that it would. But we were crossing our fingers when we hoped, and it has actually happened. 2023, we saw performance better than 2019, which was the best year that we had ever seen in the occupancy tax. So that is good news and supports the funding assumptions that we are making as we go to the bond market in June. As we consolidate our occupancy tax streams and put them towards this project, this is just a summary of what those streams are. You have the 3% tax that goes to fund the operations of Visit Cincy, otherwise known as the CVB. We have the 3.5% occupancy tax at the county levies for the Duke Energy Center, the Sharonville Convention Center, the Millennium debt, and miscellaneous other expenses relating to hospitality and tourism. We have the new Hamilton County lodging tax at 1%, and then we have the various city lodging tax streams. There is 2.5%, which goes towards the Duke Energy Center debt service, FC Cincinnati infrastructure, as well as 1.5% tax, which goes specifically towards Duke Energy Center operations. So we are looking at completing design relatively soon, getting construction documents done over the next several months, closing on the financing by June or late May, and securing the guaranteed maximum price from our construction manager, Messer, in March or April, beginning construction in July of 24, with the idea of completing construction by December 31st of 2025. So now I'm going to walk through the agreements. This is really the crux of the presentation, but I'm going to go through it quickly because, again, I know the board has seen and heard these before. But essentially, there's three seminal agreements here. There's the senior cooperative agreement, there's the residual occupancy tax agreement, and there is the development agreement. So the first one, the senior cooperative agreement, talks about how the occupancy taxes that we are collectively leveraging are going to be applied to the project. The residual agreement talks about what happens after debt service is paid. If there's anything left over, what are we doing with that? And then the development agreement talks about how the project is going to be managed. So simply put, that's what the Cliff Notes version, that's what those three agreements do. But I'll walk you through them here. So the senior cooperative agreement, the purpose of that agreement is to allocate the various TOT revenue components. The county's 3.5% TOT would go first to Sharonville. So we have actually elevated Sharonville into a senior position in this financing. And then after that, to the bond trustee for the project. The county's 1% TOT would go to the bond trustee for the project. The city's 1.5% TOT would go towards the FC Cincinnati bonds and then to the bond trustee for the project. And the city's 1% TOT directly to the bond trustee for the project. The Visit Cincy has also committed $3 million of their 3% occupancy tax for backstopping and security directly into the project itself. So it is revenue directly into the project. Some other considerations in the senior cooperative agreement, the city and the county have both agreed to $650,000 of backstopping, basically additional security for the project. So presuming that the board moves forward with these agreements, that would be executed as well, with the idea that, again, that is there for backstopping and security. There is additional cash contributions as well. The city committed $30 million in cash, of which they have spent $7 million of that. The county committed 15, of which 10 million of that is remaining, and that is money that has been budgeted and would be executed upon execution of the development agreement. The cooperative agreement also discusses the role of the CFA moving forward. The CFA would still be in existence to accept the county 3.5% TOT and assign that that revenue to the bond trustee, and also would be appointed and is appointed by the county and the city as the ongoing advisor and consultant on matters related to the convention center. The residual TOT agreement talks about what happens after the bonds are paid on an annual basis. If there is money left over, where does that money go? This is something the board has been involved in discussing over the past several months, but essentially the framework is that on an annual basis, 65% of what is remaining would go to Visit Cincy to repay their $3 million contribution until any deficit is remedied, up to a maximum of $3 million annually. After that, 80% of the residual goes to the county, 20% goes to the city. And that is based upon a pro rata allocation of the amount of taxes coming into the system. So that can change just depending upon, on an annual basis, how much city tax comes in versus county tax. But for the most, this is historically and projected what we think that will amount to. In terms of how the county would use that 80%, 45% is allocated to county-specific uses, 38% to capital needs in the Northern Convention District, and 17% to capital needs at the Duke Energy Center. The first 4 years, all of that capital would go to the north. it says 17% to the Duke Energy Center. That only begins essentially in year 5. The thought being that in the first 4 years, because of all the money that's being put into the Duke Energy Center, there's not going to be a lot of capital needs there. So more going into the north relatively in those first 4 years. And just a note to say that all of the city's distribution goes directly into a reserve fund for the Duke Energy Convention Center. The development agreement is the final agreement. The purpose is essentially to guide the relationship between the county, the city, and 3CDC during the implementation of the Convention District project. A lot of this information was included in the pre-development agreement that the board previously passed, and there, you remember there was a non-binding section of that too, which also laid out some of this conceptually as well. But it controls everything from 3CDC's responsibility as manager for the preparation of the plans and specs for the project, bidding the projects out, overseeing construction and inspection of the work, monthly reporting, hiring the construction manager and consultants. It also controls things like dispute resolutions. If the city and the county feel differently about an issue, how does that work? And that is essentially handled through an arbitration process defined in the agreement. It also controls and governs the diversity, equity, and inclusion aspects of this project, which for those watching at home, the goals here are essentially 40% MBE, WBE. So there's a 20% MBE plus a 5% reach goal. So in total, 25% MBE, 15% WBE for a total of 40%. We're already off to a very good start on that, given that our architect, Moody Nolan, is an MBE. We have a WBE landscape architect on board, and we've selected a construction management team that is also 40% MBE, which includes Jostin and Triversity. Just as a note, there have been some initial design assist bid packages that have gone out. So this is where we might have a very complex aspect of the project, and it makes sense to get some contractors on board first in order to provide some guidance to the designers. And in those instances, those first 4 packages have been awarded to union contractors. And we're working with each of those to maximize the MBE, WBE participation within those respective scopes. The development agreement also oversees the financing. We've already talked about this a little bit, but in terms of the county cash into the project, the city cash, and the permitted uses of the funds as well. It specifies 3CDC's development fee at $2.75 million, which is an initial $1 million payment followed by draw requests throughout the project. And the agreement is very specific as to the type of information that 3CDC needs to provide in order to have those draw requests fulfilled. There is a section on the plaza, which we also call the Millennium site. Currently, the port owns that site. It's expected over the next several months that the port will transfer and convey that title to the county. The development agreement discusses the county's then subsequent leasing of that site to the city for use for convention purposes. The agreement does not lay these terms out with complete specificity, but just generally lays them out in terms of the types of terms that still need to be negotiated. So presuming the board moves forward, we would then begin negotiating a lease with the city, addressing issues such as the term, recognition of the county on site, third-party management, reporting, financing of capital improvements on the site, all those types of things. In terms of termination, the county can withdraw from this agreement upon 30 days notice up until the point that either a guaranteed maximum price is entered into by the construction manager at risk or the closing of the top bonds. Once that happens, there's legal obligations in place, and obviously the county's funding would be necessary to address those legal obligations. Next steps, the agreements are available for the board consideration. I know you received the full agreements last week, commissioners. The senior cooperative agreement, the TOT residual cooperative agreement, and development services agreement. I believe the city passed these or took action on all of them a week and a half ago, I believe. So the proposed timing is we would look to bring this forward by leave on the agenda for Thursday, but certainly subject to board questions, discussion, et cetera. So I rattled through that fairly quickly, did my best. Happy to answer any questions if there are any, commissioners.
Thank you. All right, I do have a question. Are any of these agreements on the hotel?
Yes.
I know you added it just for context, but is anything we're voting on Thursday regarding an 800-room hotel financing plan?
No, these are all related to the convention center project. Yes, you're right. I did give an update on the hotel project, but that was just for an update. Correct.
Okay, I just wanted for clarity. The other thing I wanted to ask you is how much do we owe? And if you don't have it today, you can get it to us. I understand that on your, I don't know, you don't have it numbered, but on your slide, transient occupancy financing overview, and you have that these different projects. I'd like to know how much do we owe on the Millennium Hotel that that we had took debt out on.
John, do you have that precise number? We can get it to you.
You can get it to
right after.
Yeah, I would like to know that. I'd like to know what's on the existing debt. I know you're talking about rolling in all this debt, but I'd like to know what is still owed. Did we pay anything? Did we do anything? Or is it still at 55 million?
On those since the project initiated. But again, that was just a couple of years ago, so it's probably still close to what the project cost. But we'll get you both that number specifically, as well as the amount remaining on the Duke Energy Convention Center as well.
Okay. And then Sharonville, is that the new debt or is that the new expansion debt, or did we owe anything prior to that?
That is the agreement that we've had with Sharonville in the past for the debt service on their initial expansion.
So we're still paying on the initial.
On
No, we had an expansion, but we're still.
That's correct. We also were a participant in their recent project as well. In providing a cash contribution to that. So, yes.
Okay. I just want to know, you put on the debt service, I want to know what debt do we still have? The other thing is the proposal now is to go from two, because we had the county side and we dealt with the expansion, the two convention centers, and then we had the Millennium Hotel debt. And then the city, they had FC Cincinnati infrastructure debt, and then half of the convention center downtown. So I'm just trying to figure out, now we're saying we're now going to be one debt? Is that what the proposal is?
Yeah, so all of the occupancy tax streams funneled into one common plan of finance to fund everything associated with all of our joint obligations, correct?
Then I had a question about the, I guess it's called the plaza, because we still owe about $55 million. I have a problem with that, not making any money. And then on here, I just want to make sure I understand it, that plaza that costs $55 million, that's just green space now, you're saying we would have ownership, but then do a separate deal, and you named a number of items that, is this in the debt? I mean, I think I wouldn't want to have debt, and then we already got $55 million worth of debt. We're rolling into the other debt, and now we're saying that on that site we would have a third-party management. Is that a fee? Because every time people come, they say they don't have a fee, and then I start seeing fees. And then second, I think that needs to be up front. How much would it cost? You have maintenance, repair, and capital improvements. Do they need capital improvements? What is that up front? And then you have on here possible naming rights over on the $55 million we still owe for Millennium. We gonna let somebody else do naming rights? And then you also have a purchase option. Is there someone looking to buy it?
So that would, the purchase option specifically would be something built into the lease to the degree that there was a brick and mortar expansion of the convention center across the street, and because of that, if the city desired to purchase that property to facilitate that brick and mortar expansion, it doesn't really make sense for us to own different pieces of property underneath the convention center.
Right. Well, I'm just concerned that I guess it has a name now, Plaza. I don't know if maybe we voted on that, but it's called a plaza now, where Millennium once had 800 rooms and cost us $55 million, and we still got debt. And on here, it doesn't say that in the deal, we won't owe any more money. Like, that should already be paid. Like, whatever's gonna happen over there should already be paid for. It shouldn't be another deal that cost us. Third-party management should be no cost. Maintenance and repair and capital improvements, it should already be rolled in, so we don't come back with another, another bill to get that site repaired.
Funding of that, it would be funding from any revenues that would come off of that site to go specific, to pay for the expenses of operating the site and have those revenues go back into the maintenance and improvement of that site.
Okay, well, I just wanna make sure that's in writing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wouldn't want, because just like this is, the hotel is not in this deal. The hotel's a separate $400 million plus project. And I want to make sure this plaza, it cost us $55 million and has green space. I just want to make sure that that's somehow, that's not separate. So we have the hotel sitting out here and then the Millennium Site Plaza sitting out here, both not funded necessarily in the,
Right now,
what we're moving
just
forward.
to make sure we're clear, the actual development, and the capital development of that plaza site is a part of the project. So what is not a part of the agreement at this point is the specific sublease agreement with the city of Cincinnati. But the actual development of the site itself and turning it into an outdoor space for use by the convention center is a part of the project.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, and I had heard something about the environmental study of that property. I just want to make sure nothing comes back to us, say, oh man, we looked at it, now it's got environmental, now we got to pay something extra. So that's why I wanted to make sure, is it in the package?
There shouldn't be any issues there.
Okay, and then I had another question on here. You said basically $12 million has already been spent. And I'd just like to know what it, I'd like to know what it was spent on.
Yeah, we can get you the full breakdown on that, but mostly it's going to be their pre-design work. There were some legal costs that had to be paid, those types of things, but we can get you a breakdown.
Okay, and is that on our side? Then the other thing, I guess my last thing that I'll say today, on here, it's been just so many things. At first it was like, oh, we're doing this, there'll be no cost. Then it'll be $1 million, but that's the city paying the $1 million pre-development for 3CDC. Now you have a development fee of $2.75 million. And then you said in equal monthly installments. And then you got us in here, city and county. So are we putting in money to this?
So the development fee, the $2.75 million development fee, there'd be $1 million paid at the closing of the bonds, and then the rest of it through equal installments, and it would be paid through the bond proceeds. So nothing additional from the county or the city. So it would be paid out of the project funds.
Okay, but I'm trying to understand. There was something that you presented to us, and I had asked you about it. You said first 3CDC said they were not charging us anything. It's free. Then there was something with $1 million in it that they would get for being the project manager. And then you indicated, oh, that's just the city. That's not the county, even though it was in there. Now, is this $2.75 million in addition to that $1 million?
Yeah, so there was an amount from the city for the pre-development costs for 3CDC. The county did not pay that. That was part of the city's direct payment. This is the development fee for the life of the project, so for essentially the 18 months of the project.
And it doesn't say, are we 50-50 on this?
Well, it's funded out of the bond proceeds, so it is.
But bonds we got to sign for. I mean,
Well,
we got to pay back.
Bonds that we are paying on, yeah.
Yeah.
So the debt service, if you were to look at the total amount of the project, this amounts to about 1.3% of the overall project. So that.
No, I get you.
Yeah, no, I'm just
I
saying
know I
that
get you on that, because when we trying to prove something, it's it's only 1%. But we trying to go after other people. We always say, it's a lot of money.
No,
but
I'm
when
trying
we
to
come
answer.
here,
I'm trying to answer.
yeah, I would because this is new for me to see the 2.75.
Well, it's not. It has been presented in the past, but
I thought it was 1 million that was presented in the past. You just said 1 million originally.
No, I mean, in information I've gotten to the board.
Information,
Yeah.
but not voted on.
No, certainly not voted on. So in the pre-development agreement, it talked about the right for 3CDC to negotiate a development fee. So what I was saying about the 1.3% was that you had asked about how much of that is the county paying, how much is city versus county. So in any debt service, essentially 1.3% of that, and whatever the pro rata split would be between the county and the city on debt service, I guess theoretically would be the county-city split on that. But it all comes out of the bond.
Yeah, I'm just asking you, what's the split? Because we were out of this first. First that you had $1 million, it was only the city. Now we talking the city and the county. I understand it's in the bond, but is that would consider a 50-50 split per se?
It'd certainly be a split, correct?
Yeah. So now we talking $3.75 million, and we were told originally it wasn't going to be anything. They said, "Oh, we just doing it for helping out." But total of this, or is there any more fees that would go to them besides $3.75 million?
Not for this particular project. Now, as we move forward with the hotel.
The hotel would be another fee potentially. Okay. Okay, well, that helped me. Nothing on the hotel this time. And that number came up, and that jumped out at me. So that was my questions. Vice President Driehaus.
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation. I am going to talk just very quickly about the hotel piece because you presented it, and I am grateful that the state has stepped in with some financing. I know we've got a little ways to go on the Senate side, but thank you to the members of the House of Representatives, to our delegation members for securing $22 million so far out of that large capital budget that they are moving forward now over on the Senate side, and the TMUD grant. I mean, these are huge amounts helping us get to a place where we can close the gap on the hotel side of this project, and that's the only way this works. And so I just want to express my gratitude for all the work that's been done internally with staff and externally with the delegation to make sure that we're on the radar for those state dollars. And so on the convention center side, as Jeff, you have said, we've talked about this a number of times. You've given us updates in our report for a few months now, so I feel pretty comfortable with my knowledge base on this. I just want to, in a broad way, think through the importance of a project like this, treating this, and as Commissioner Reese was saying, this approach to the convention center, to the hotel, to the parking garage, to the plaza space over to the east, we are approaching this in a collective way with not only the city of Cincinnati, but by way of the property, so that we're not doing one thing here that doesn't make any sense next to what's happening here and what's happening there, but rather we're doing it in coordination with all of the entities that either own property or controlling properties on these various sites that make up the convention center district. So it's a real unique opportunity. It's also a unique approach for us, and I think it's the way to go here because we are in it with the city, and I think this approach reflects that. So I wanted to highlight it, or rather have you reiterate. So what's in front of us then are these different agreements related to the development phases of the convention center. You said that the city, have they taken action on all of the elements that we are going to be taking action on?
They have. They've either approved all of them or they've approved a subset of them and provided the city manager with the authority to execute the remaining. So
Okay.
they've taken council has taken action, to my knowledge, as far as they are going to go, and the city manager has the additional authority.
Okay, just as we continue down this road, I just want to make sure that we're in sync with the city, that 3CDC is helping coordinate both between the city and the county so that we don't have anything that's any different from one to the other, because and I know we're all trying very hard to make sure that we're doing the same things in either chamber or at either sides of the city. So I just want to make sure of the timing there, so they're a little ahead of us on some of this stuff. And then I want to address this issue related to the plaza. So while it currently is an open space, it used to be a drag on this district. It stood in the way of any hotel you're putting up a headquarter hotel to the south of the convention center. It stood in the way of an expansion or any renovation of the convention center. It was a drag on the tourism industry here in Cincinnati and in the district itself. And so the county took a very bold step, a preliminary step, to secure that property so that we could get moving on this project. Without that, we're not even having this conversation because none of this matters with the Millennium still standing there. And so that is open space now, but is going to be used as programmable space for the convention center. So while the renovation is important, this $200 million renovation, I think there is always an eye towards an expansion of the exhibit space, but this plaza area to the east gives us the opportunity to construct programmable space. It's not inside the convention center, but that's not to say it's not programmable space. And as you know, I've traveled to a couple different places, the National Association for Counties for one, and you look at these different convention facilities, they are all looking towards programmable space outside because people don't want to be in a building for a conference, and it's a real selling point for some of the larger conventions that we are luring or trying to lure into the city of Cincinnati. And so I think there's a huge benefit to having some space off to the east where we can think creatively about how we want that to be programmed, how it would be used in coordination with the conventions that are happening inside the center, and I think will give us a leg up in the market. I mean, the whole idea is to have us put our best foot forward as we go for the conventions that we've been missing over the last decade because we're not competing with our competitive set. And so all of these things help us to better position ourselves. And so I hearken back to the chart. I love this chart, by the way, the one with the tot revenue. So it's so striking. When you look at what COVID did to this, I mean, we all knew it, right? We were all living through this. But man, oh man, did the tot take a hit during that time. And it's taken us a minute, to build back up. But we are definitely on the right trajectory. And as we get these renovations completed, that revenue will grow. And so I am very optimistic about what this chart will look like in a few years once this comes online. And then once the hotel comes online, we're going to see this trend continue to the upward space to the benefit of the community. I mean, the whole point of it is to provide, this space for the community to generate revenue for the good of the business of the community. So I'm ready to go on this. I appreciate all the information over the past couple months that you've been given to us. I've had a couple private meetings also to just drill in a little bit on the numbers. But thank you for the work on this. I thank the city for their partnership, 3CDC for the partnership. We're ready to go ahead and move forward with the agreements. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Dumas.
Thank you. I thought you raised a lot of great questions that have me thinking that you sent to Jeff or asked Jeff about. So there's some things that I need to think about. And certainly we need to coordinate with the city, but I just want to make sure that we as a county continue to take the lead. And you know how funny I am about MSD when they bring stuff. They don't have Hamilton County on it, whatever, they're doing better. But as I read through this, I notice a lot of, just simple stuff. In their common plan of finances, which creates no distinction between the city and the county tot distributions. I want the county to be in the forefront. I don't want us to be not misled, but guided by we have to work together, but we need to take the lead on this. And I also agree the plaza, I never heard of that. Maybe it was just to put something in the gap to be able to name that area, but I don't think we agreed that that's something we wanted to call it, which is not as significant as the financial component of it. But, when we look at the Millennium area or the Plaza area and that the city may want to lease or sublease, if they have indicated that, Jeff, I know they have some idea of what they might want to do with that area. Have you heard anything from them?
Yeah, so the idea would be that it would be leased to the city specifically for convention center operations. So the convention, under the terms of any lease we would do, the convention center operations would have primary, first, and senior rights to anything on that in that area. When there is time outside of conventions, et cetera, that the space could be programmed with other things to the degree that those generate revenue, but they would go to pay for the operations of that facility or go, and at the end of the year, if there's more revenue than cost go back into the maintenance and repair and upgrade of that specific site. So it'd be essentially a self-contained operation.
Okay, thank you for that. But if they're leasing or subleasing, they would have exclusive rights to that area, correct?
They will have it. Yes, they will have the rights. So the county could still use it as well. That would
could still use it as our.
that would be in the lease as well. That we could use it when we wanted to use it. But the primary purpose would be for the convention center itself, and to be able to program it for convention use.
And so the reason why we're thinking about leasing or subleasing to the city is because we believe that the county will get some revenue out of that.
No, the primary reason to sublease to lease it to the city would be because with the city owning the convention center, and because it is primarily for convention center purposes, that there's just a more seamless operational linkage between the city, the convention center, and the programming of that space for convention center purposes.
Thank you for that. Of course, the graph that we saw, it's good to see that the top revenue is increasing. And of course, as we renew and build a new convention center, I'm sure the revenue will go up even more. I just thank Visit Cincy for trying to replace those who were scheduled for the convention center out to Sharonville, most of them. So from the people that I have talked to that maybe have been scheduled down at the convention center, they have been replaced in other areas, which I'm happy about that. I also had a question about the handicap accessibility of this area. We know as developers you have to have a certain amount of handicap accessibility, but I asked for the plan to specifically look at where that accessibility is, because it's not that easy to get into the convention center now. We know it's going to be much different then, but just wanted to make sure that handicap accessibility has been recognized, and also the parking for handicapped accessibility. But that's all that I have at this time. The plan looks good. I'm just concerned about, as I read through, to make sure, once again, I'll reiterate, that the county continues to hold the power in this construction process. That's all I have.
Thank you. And I do want to just piggyback on that one thing about the plaza space, because we had a similar deal when I was on council for Fountain Square. You used to go to Fountain Square and communities could rent it, I don't know, $50, $100. And then the proposal was to have more activity, which I think was great. But what we're seeing now, that the group that was around, I'm probably the only one still hanging around, that can talk about the original process. Now, when you go to Fountain Square, everything that has transpired, and we got some great things, but it's not as accessible to the community. I've been getting calls, for example, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Black Family Union used to have a breakfast on there. I'm hearing that now they're trying to push them to Washington Park. Withrow had their 100-year centennial, and it was amazing. They call there now, they say, you can't come down there. You got to go to Washington Park. And so I just don't want that, this plaza becomes, and it's a marketing machine. You go down there, there's a zillion sponsors, there's alcohol sales is available, all that is revenue. But just 5 years ago, Withrow had their centennial there. They charged them, I think, $2,400, and it didn't come with electricity, but they at least was able to rent it. Now they're saying you got to go down to Washington Park. So I'm concerned that we would develop something that would be lots of activity, no, nothing against that. But again, the public is on the hook for the debt at the end of the day. For $55 million, we have not produced $55 million. We didn't tear something down. I'm not saying it wasn't the right thing to get rid of it, but we have not replaced a $55 million. We haven't replaced anything there that's gonna pay property taxes. We just have all these homeowners mad about property taxes. Now we got a space that we were getting property taxes, but we ain't gonna get no property taxes now. And so I'm just saying I don't want this to turn into Fountain Square. Fountain Square is nice. I'm not saying it's against it, but again, it was advertised as we're gonna take it over, we're gonna do better. It has been monetized. Everything you see down there is monetized. And now we're gonna have something that we're not gonna get any monetization, at least now nowhere near 55 million, nowhere near the property taxes. So I just wanted to make sure in this packet, I know you included some things. You included hotel, but that's separate. That will not be dealt with on Thursday.
Correct.
And Vice President Driehaus is right. We've got some state folks that have helped put in, but we're still not, we don't have a date. We're not ready for that. That will not come. But then on the back side, you have this plaza and you have some outstanding things that won't be voted on, I don't think, on Thursday. And I just want to make sure that they go in and say, this is going to cost this much to make it up to speed. We got to bring in a stage. We got to bring in lighting. We got to bring in all this stuff. You in here saying maintenance and repairs. Why would I mean, right now I don't have to repair anything. It's just some green space down there. But now we talk about maintenance, repairs, capital improvements. Hold on. A third-party management. Now, we've just seen on here management costing us $3.79 million on just the convention center, not even the hotel. I just want to make sure that this part, the plaza, there's no additional costs coming in, because we already got $55 million to tear all that stuff down, and we haven't made a dime back.
Yeah, so commissioners, so the capital maintenance, capital repair, so the project itself, the convention center renovation project, the $200 million project includes the development of that plaza to be utilized as convention space. And so the maintenance and repair you see identified there would be, so however that area is developed through the project, there's going to need to be some maintenance and upkeep to it, et cetera. And the idea would be that the programming of that site pays for that and it stays self-contained as opposed to anyone else having to pay anything from the outside for it.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure, and that the public can somehow use it, that they wouldn't be squeezed out if we were. I mean, obviously, I would like to have a hotel over there because I figured we lost 800 rooms, we paid $55 million. Let's put something there that's going to bring us back $55 million in rooms. But obviously, I'm outnumbered. But I just wanted to make sure that that doesn't become something that, that costs us more money. That's what I wanted to make sure. Okay, well, anything else? Nothing else? Okay, well, if there's nothing else, we've had an eventful day, a wonderful Black History program. Thank you, everybody that came down, and I have a motion to adjourn.
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Driehaus? Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.